Hello all. So I hope you guys can hear me as well as see my screen still. Arsh, can you confirm please?
Yes, sir, I can see your screen and you are audible.
Perfect. So let me quickly verify. Okay, we have enough participants to actually start the session. So thanks a lot for joining in this session. This is a second demo session of SAP Sales and Distribution and S4HANA 1909's related simplifications training. Last session, we had already covered some of the concepts regarding material determination, material listing, and exclusion. Also, we discuss about the business process scenario where it can be applicable. What does condition technique means? How we can utilize those condition technique, and so on and so forth. Today, as a second demonstration, I thought to utilize a bit different topic and go for the special sales process, which is known as consignment sales. We will try to go through the business concept, basic process, as well as a short system demo. I would try to keep it short as I don't want to really bore you with the too many system topics. The whole purpose of the demo is to give you an idea that what is my way of communication. Are you means how you guys are feeling? Is it understandable, not understandable, and giving you an enough input which can make your decision clear if you would like to join this training. What I did is I already pre-planned the our site the PPT because just to keep it more efficient and faster, so it does not take more time in formulating the details. So starting with the consignment process, over the period of time, you would have always come across this word consignment. But what does consignment process means in the terms of SAP or a general sales business? So let's think of it. What does the definition? What is the consignment process definition? If I think of most simplest definition, it means that allowing the stock placement at customer site. So our topic is we want to allow our own stock, we as a manufacturer, at the customer side, and as and when customer consumes stock, to charge for the same. So our purpose is to whenever customer is consuming the stock from his own site which we have placed, then charging him. So this is the whole concept. Obviously, when we are placing our own stock to the customer's place, there are some key expectations that customer will sell as much as possible stock from the whatever we are placing at the customer's place. And then there can be another thought process that why such a process will be in place, because if you think as a manufacturer point of view, we as a manufacturer may be manufacturing a product, we have invested our money, invested in manufacturing process, raw material process, many other administrative task things, and at the end we are placing the stock at the customer's side where we are not sure, we are not immediately charging, we are saying that when he will consume, then only we will charge. Does not sound like a most efficient deal for us, but there are reasons why such a process is still in existence and why SAP is dedicatedly defining that process. One of the main reason is the market driven process. This is a topic of market driven. You know, many markets are driven by the customers who are purchasing the material. And if you look at it from a customers or a wholesaler who is your ultimately your first customer, from their perspective, they don't want to invest too much in the stock, which will keep lying somewhere in their warehouse, and they may or may not use it. And ultimately, the stock may get expired, and it will result in a loss for them. So, over the period of time, tendency is not to invest too much for a customer. not to invest too much in the stock where there is a seasonal driven or a market driven situation, and there is no surety that that product will be sold that fast. And such situation, consignment process will help customer more. So because of that, this is more of a customer friendly process. If you straightforward thing, this process has another benefit. If you will think of a situation, this is cutting down long sales cycle, long logistic cycle, where you approach customer now confirms one order, you pass on the information to logistics team, they produce, they arrange the stock, they dispatch, stock reaches to the customer side, he can later sometime consume it, and immediately he needs it again the whole process has to start from the scratch. If the requirement planning is better and efficient from the customer side, definitely it is good. But if it is not that good, that great, then it overall it leads to the long cycle of the sales, which is too much tedious for customer as well as for us. So this process, consignment process, cuts down long logistics cycle. And these are the general reasons why consignment process is very famous, and even currently many of the companies are using this. If you think about which kind of industry will be using this process, typically the industry which need continuous raw material for their production. Many of the industries are there where when the certain kind of machines are ongoing, that machines startup time itself takes so much if it has been stopped. So those material need companies need consistent supply of the raw material, and they cannot stop the overall processing cost will go so high if they will end up stopping their production process. In such a place, they need a continuous raw material, and it makes more sense if the raw material is consistently available at the manufacturing site itself and has been provided by customer in advance, by a supplier in advance. And such industry will always prefer consignment concept, where we place our stock at the customer site, customer consumes it, and ultimately we charge him based on whatever is the remaining stock or information of consumption we have received from the customer. Many times this same topic is used for the product which can get expired, like product with expiration or seasonal products. There also there is no surety. The market demand may come, go, product may expire, customer may end up losing the material. Overall margins are higher on those such products, and in those cases, uh, consignment process is one of the best one. Many times there are need for the new product. Whenever we have a new product and we are trying to introduce it to the market, consignment process definitely helps, because in those cases supermarkets or those supply wholesalers or distributors are not very keen to invest in the new product which may take time in the market to be sold, and we would like to push that towards the market. In such situation, we as a supplier can also go for the consignment process, where we say, okay, we are doing our own marketing to the end customer, but can you please keep the stock at your place? If end customer comes to you, please sell it and sell as much as possible. Such situation also are key topic for the consignment process. So we talked about like why this process is still there, which kind of industry it can work, but what are the stages of this process? So I try to draw one simple diagram. Let's add something. For example, this is our manufacturing company. These are us. And let's take, this is our distributor. And this triangle is for the end customer of distributor. I may have to resize it. End customer of the distributor. So if this is the scenario, our process, our definition of process says allowing stock placement at the customer side. We as a manufacturing company wants to send a stock to my distributor to keep in his own warehouse. Now it depends on the distributor also. He should have the enough size of warehouse and which should be fine for him to store the stock properly. So these are all understanding, inherent understanding that all the prerequisites are matched. Then this particular section is called fill up, when we are targeting to send the product to the customer. It's from our side to the distributor. In stages point of view, we call it consignment fill up. When we do the fill up, product is at the distributor side. Now, in this example, distributor ultimately tries to sell it further to the end customer. When distributor sells it to the end customer, that means he is informing us that now he has sold the product to the customer, and at that point of time, we initiate the consignment issue process. We call it issue, consignment issue process. How do we find out that product has been sold? There are two methods. One, we keep the track of the product. Second, by ourselves. Second, uh, distributor or whoever is our customer informs us at the end of daily or weekly or monthly, whatever is the cycle agreed, that he has consumed XYZ amount of stock. That means there should be remaining stock available in his warehouse at that point of time. That is consignment issue. Now, every process, every sales process, whenever we think about as a consultant, we have to think about a reverse or a return cycle. What if there was some problem with that product which was sold and now there is a complaint and we have to give a credit or a return the product? Let's think in this scenario, this end customer who had took the product, he ended up finding some issue with that product and he wants to return that product to the distributor. That is called consignment return process. When consignment return happens, that means the stock is coming back into our consignment itself. Consignment stock, which we have blocked for the customer. The moment it is there inside the with the distributor's consignment stock, as in his warehouse, over the period of time, all the damage, unused, expired, or even a good enough product, we may have to decide to take it back to our own warehouse because it is not being sold or it is not in a situation to be sold. Or we may have to add fresh stock or a new variety of the stock at the customer's place and take back the old stock. This process of taking back our own but old stock from the customer site is known as a pickup. So you can here understand very clearly that fill up, where we have sent the product to the distributor, pickup is exactly opposite step where we are just taking stock back from the distributor site. Ultimately, stock is still ours. When issue means distributor sold that product further to the end customer, then the consignment return is the exactly reverse process where end customer is returning the stock back to the distributor, ultimately in our own consignment stock. So this brings us to the four phases of the consignment process. Let's go more in detail what this individual phase means and how does it work out. So let's start with the consignment fill up itself. So we already established the definition. Consignment fill up means sending the product to customer's site. Some of the key points are there. If we just think a bit of a logically, that we are saying that we are sending the product to the customer site. When you do such a process, is this process relevant for billing? We should think about it, right? So is this process relevant for billing? Actually, no. We already said that we only do the billing if it's the product, placed product is further sold to the end customer. That means this is not relevant for billing. Then second question comes. If it is not relevant for the billing to the customer, is this consignment fill up process relevant for pricing? No, you are not charging to the customer. So again, the same topic, it is not relevant for the pricing. In the all sales process, one of the key important topic we always consider is a credit management. Whenever we want to sell the product to any customer, we really want to be sure that this customer can pay back at the end of the day. In the consignment process, do we have to activate the credit management? Here, the answer is a bit trickier and then a bit different than the expectation. Generally, SAP recommends consignment fill up is not relevant for credit, automatic credit control. You know why SAP recommends such a thing? SAP says that you are placing the stock at the customer site, but you can only and only consider it for the customer's credit exposure if he is consuming it. What if that stock is just lying around there and it is never being considered? Should you consider it for the credit exposure? Ideally, no. So if you will ever see this SAP setup, you will never see the automatic credit control. But then as a real practical business guy, if you ask me that should I do the credit check one way or another way? Yes, definitely. If you are going to place your stock at the customer's place, you don't know. You need to be sure that he can pay it back if something happens. And that means general out of the system credit check happens. We call it a general credit check out of the system. But this is always recommended, as well as, you know, between us and the customer, whenever we are in such a process, agreement, kind of a legal agreement is prepared to be sure that we can trust the person and it's a reliable situation. Also, some of the special point which we need to always consider is this particular stock, when you are placing it at the customer site, whose ownership it is? When it is it has left our premises, it is now sitting at the customer's place. Is customer owner of the stock? Can he do whatever he wants? Actually, we are placing the stock at his place for further consumption, but customer is not owner of the stock. In the consignment fill up process, when we are sending the product to the customer, we are the owner. Ownership is still with manufacturer. This is very important point. Still the ownership is with us as a manufacturer. And this brings very interesting situation. If that is the case, and we were talking about availability check and all those things earlier, that okay, if ownership is ours, that means in my system must know that at this point of time, for this customer, I have XYZ amount of stock. So if I take this box as a my stock identifier, so for my material A, there can be two type of stock. One, normal or a unrestricted stock. We call it unrestricted stock. That means you can use it for any purpose. My system should know at any point of time, there's a, for example, 100 quantity of the stock available. And my system should also know that if there is any consignment stock, as in my customer placed an order of a I decided to send a 10 quantity of material A at my customer XYZ as a consignment, then my system need to know exactly that there is a 10 quantity stock for customer XYZ 10 quantity stock is there as a consignment. How does system know? How does system know this particular consignment information? How does system identify this normal 100 stock and this 10 quantity consignment stock separately? System identifies this with a special stock indicator. We'll come across where we can see that stock indicator. It's known as W. So system has there can be many type of stock. You know, in a real life, you can have a normal stock which is sellable. You can have blocked stock. You can have customer consignment stock. You can have order specific stock, many other stock. And generally, you want system to always segregate this stock, because when subsequently customer uses his stock for the process of consignment issue, which we talk about here, when he wants to use that stock or sell it further to the end customer, he should be only and only consider stock which is lying at his customer site and not your stock which is part of your plant, general stock. And that identification is done by the special stock indicator as a W. So these are the very generic or a standard points which we need to consider for the consignment fill up. I would like to show you kind of an idea that how does this consignment fill up is differing compared to our normal standard cycle. And when I'm saying standard cycle, I'm not going to go in too much detail. I'm just going to touch base very simply. If I consider these as my standard order processing, okay, standard order processing, normal standard cycle. First thing I do is I create sales order, and then definitely delivery, and then billing. What does this mean? Customer gave me a purchase order. I punch that sales order in my system. The moment sales order is punched, stock is finalized, inform to my logistic guys, find out where that stock is lying into the warehouse, pick up that stock, load it in the truck, send it to XYZ address, which is my ship to party or my customer, and go ahead with the shipping process. That is part of delivery. Once the goods has left my premises, I also initiate the invoicing. So I can charge customer and customer at the end pay me back. This is called simple standard order to cash cycle with delivery. Okay, own stock process. It's my own stock. I have sales order, delivery, billing. Then how does consignment fill up is different? Consignment fill up, actually I'm creating consignment fill up order. It's called fill up order, or you can call it consignment fill up order, whatever we prefer. And ultimately delivery. There's no billing. We already established that we are not charging to the customer. But there is an interesting question for and this is more for the complete new people who are first time on the sales and distribution. How did system understood these two process as a different? Because at the end of the day, to create a sales order, we are using the same screen, same transaction code, same process. System needs an identifier to segregate these different business processes. And earlier we talked about 4 different business processes: fill up, issue, return, and pick up, right? 4 different processes. Then system needs an identifier. This identifier is called sales document type. I'll write down very simply here this key points so you can relate it. We will go in a more detailed discussions of what the sales document type is, how you can set up, what are the principles of new sales document type setup and all. We will go ahead, but just important point for us to understand is why sales document type. It's an identifier for system to segregate the business processes, which is necessary. One of another concept. Okay, so let me give you some example. If it is a standard order, my sales document type is actually OR. This is just a key. SAP has defined some standard key, so there is no way other than remembering it, and it helps if we remember it early enough. But in general, Standard sales order is an OR, and then same concept, that standard fill up order we are calling KB. So if such a rule of identifier is there for the sales order, which is called sales document type, what about delivery? Is there something like that for the delivery? Yes, that's called delivery type, and we call it LF. Again, same topic, we have to remember it no other way, LF. And same goes for the billing as well. Standard billing is called F2. There are other versions as well, F1, F5, F8, but we will talk about those things once we are going more into the detailed billing related configuration and setup. But general standard billing where I would like to charge my customer is called F2. But then one of the special topic which I mentioned was system specific behavior. In my sales order, normal sales order process or standard sales order process, I have a material and it just goes for the delivery and ultimately it goes billing. My system always knows when this order, this standard order processing is going on, it is supposed to consider the stock consumption from the unrestricted. System already knows. And that comes from the availability check. But whenever system has to plan anything for this consignment, system also need to know that how that stock, this particular stock after this order is not being sold, it is just being placed in under the like that customer's name as a customer specific stock. And that identifier at the item level or at the product level is called item category, because under one business process or one business scenario, there can be many varieties of the item. I can have, I may be selling a product or a stock relevant item. A simple example is anything you can take. I may be selling a laptop, then laptop number of quantity is my stock, which is a stockable item. But I may be in the business of a service where I just do the repairing and I don't need a delivery. So many times the item based item by item, the behavior of subsequent process differs, and that identifier for system is called item category. This special indicator stock for the stock is also assigned within the item category. That's how system can subsequently identify or place the stock in the consignment. Another third identifier, which is very, very specific, is first, let me write down some basic item category. TAN is a standard item. Just an example. There are many more are there, but just for your understanding, TAN is a standard item for the standard order. And same way, for the consignment fill up, the item is called KBN. KBN. You may think that here it was easy. It is KB, system identify KBN. Why it is OR and not ORN? Actually, in German, it's called TA. OR is an English naming, that's why. But in German, it is called TA. And that is why only at the end, N is being added and it goes as a TAN. Sorry. Yeah, TAN. So that is about an item category. One more important topic is we talked about availability check and all other concept, that now going forward when the customer issue will happen, consignment issue will happen, this particular process, system should be smart enough to only and only consider stock which is at the customer site and not at the like normal at my own site. And in that particular scenario, that identifier, system needs an identifier for that also. That's called availability check based identifier. They are schedule line category. The main benefit of schedule line category is it determines movement type and it determines availability check. If are you going to do or not, and there are many other purposes, but this is the main purpose which I would like to talk about. What is movement type? The full name of that one is material movement type. When we are ultimately in this our business process, what are we doing? We have product here, material is here, we are sending it to here, then from here we are sending it to here, or it may coming back from this customer to our distributor in consignment, and so on and so forth. It just material is moving one way or another way. That is all what the logistics process is all about, right? Major logistics process are moving the material, and every movement has a different meaning behind it, and that is controlled by the movement type. That every movement has a specific movement type. Normal delivery information, there your different type of schedule line category. I'm just showing you some examples, PCN, and their movement type is generally 601. That means you are selling the customer something. So if you compare it with the consignment fill up, this movement type is called 631 E0 even, and it's called 631. The interesting part here is this E0 means without availability check. E1 means with availability check. Just a general identifier, but at the system level, there are settings for that. So this gives us general idea of what is consignment fill up and how this idea has comparison with the standard order processing, and how system understands by the sales document type, item category, stock indicator, schedule line category, movement type, and so on and so forth. We'll continue with this example further. The next part is consignment issue, which we had talked about. So, and in our scenario, now we are talking here. After we place the stock, at the customer site, customer's place. Let me go here. We are in the scenario of consignment issue where customer has sold some product to the end customer. So ultimately, the whole definition of the consignment issue means that based on consumption of product. Now, when I say use the consumption, it's a generic word. I mean to say either that customer has consumed it to make some other product, or he is further selling it to the end customer, any scenario, or he has just took it and break it. Anything which is ultimately I'm supposed to charge it. So based on consumption of consignment stock, charging to customer. This is what we are going to talk about. Fair point. We are going to charge. The moment we are talking about, we are going to invoice to the customer. Straightforward topic is this is relevant for the pricing and billing both. We had already talked about it earlier. Consignment fill up was not, but this is. And then it brings us to the credit control topic. Do we need to active credit control? If you open your SAP standard setup, SAP does not have activated this in the system. But if you ask to the general business process guys in the companies and talk with them, your AR guys, account receivable guys, they'll say, no man, we have to have the credit control. I would like to count my customers whom I have sold a product. He may pay me later. I don't care. I have given him a payment term. I want to know the correct credit exposure, because customer may be buying some product as a consignment and some other product as a normal selling. That means it makes sense to track the credit exposure. So SAP does not have the, in the default setup, it is not there, but it's up to us as a consultant to decide that should we activate credit control or not. So it's up to the business scenario. It can be both is right. Nothing is wrong in this situation. Also, you can think about stock must be consumed from the consignment. When you, and I'm like kind of repeating this myself, but this is very important point. The availability check has to be in a way that it is only consumed my stock from here and not from here. So let's take an example. I will just write it down here so we can compare it. Consignment issue. My customer has sold the stock to his subsequent many customers. Okay. my distributor, he's my distributor subsequently sold to the end users or end customers. He had over the week, he sold probably out of 10 quantity, which I have placed as a consignment at his place, he has sold somewhere around 5 quantity. So I will call it issue order. Let me keep it simple. Issue order, the document type, because system needs an identifier, it is called KE. Item category is known as KEN, and let's imagine it is the quantity of 10 quantity, 5 quantity. So because this is a 5 quantity, subsequently when I will do the delivery, my delivery is still standard here, LF. The moment I will do the delivery, system has to reduce the stock, and system will reduce that 5 quantity stock from this consignment, and my remaining stock will become 5 quantity when I will do the consignment issue. The moment I will do the consignment issue, ultimately I'm going to charge customer for the 5 quantity, right? But that's a generic process. We will not be worried much about this part. We are focusing more on the stock and its movement. So how did system found out that it is supposed to take this particular setup? System found out because of system's schedule line category C0 and C1, and system has a movement type associated with this, which is known as 633. You can see very one interesting point. When I was first time learning this process, question in my mind was okay, fill up 631. Okay, fine. Issue 633. What did they do with the 632? And and this was like a momentary question in my mind before I move to the next process. We will also come across that one, but just to remember, it's a 633 process, and 0 means with availability check, without availability check. So ultimately, because of this, system knows where to reduce the stock, not from here, from here. So reduction of stock from consignment. And ultimately, this is we already established basics that relevant for billing, pricing. No blocks are required, nothing else. So this is simple consignment issue process. You can always ask that why this looks more like a standard order processing, order, delivery, billing. Yes, but there are some minor changes and differences about availability check, and that's why it is designed specially. Then this brings us back to the next process, consignment return. In my main cycle, this is the area here where now end customer realize, okay, I bought my 5 pieces from this distributor, but there is a problem with the 2 pieces. It's not working. Let me give it back. And now end customer is giving back to the distributor. What distributor will do with that stock? Definitely he will give it back to us as a manufacturer. We are the main responsible for that. And that means distributor will place that stock back in his consignment and ask for the credit. And that concept is known as a return process. So let's go here. Distributor's stock brought back in consignment. So ultimately distributor brought that stock back. Let me copy this sign or a current stock status, whatever we have right now, and then we will continue here. So what are the special point about this consignment return process? Again, the topic in our mind is it relevant for pricing and billing? See, slowly we need to put our mindset in these questions, which we are right now keep going again and again for every sales process. Is it relevant for pricing and billing? Yes, because you have to give a credit to the customer. So relevant for pricing as well as billing. Is it relevant for the credit control? It depends on the business scenario. Earlier in the issue time, you had kept it active, then here at the time of return, you have to keep the active. So depends upon business credit control. Because if you have consumed the some of the credit of the customer from his overall budget, then you have to give it back when he is returning something, right? So that's one of the things. Second, special stock indicator. Still it is here in the picture because system has to make sure that that return stock is only and only goes into the consignment and not into the unrestricted stock. That process will continue. So our special stock indicator will still be in the picture. Do we need any availability check? No. It's a return. It's not, we don't know anything about that stock, from where it is coming and all. So no availability check. Here, this is the only scenario where in this process where there is no availability check is required. So if you think about the process, how it will look like, it will look something like this: consignment return. You are creating now a return order. Yeah, you are creating a return order. In consignment terms, we call it KR. The R is for the return and K is more for the consignment actually. So, and we will go with our tradition. KRN is the item category. And definitely we need the schedule line category, which is D0. I'm showing here only one, D0, and not the D1 related because there is no availability check relevant here. And most interesting thing is the moment type. It is 634. As we had said, that consignment return is an opposite of the consignment issue. You sold product, it's an issue. It comes back return. So when we had a movement, earlier movement, in the issue, the movement type was 633. It's a reversal of that material movement. Now the stock is coming back. So it's just a one number other side, 634, which is the return process. And this is how I had realized, already imagined where the 632 is going to come. It is going to come immediately in the next step. So after return order, it would be return delivery. And return delivery is known as LR. Earlier it was LF because it was a normal delivery. Now we are dealing with an LR, which is a return delivery. And if there is a returns, we have to give a credit memo to the customer, and that is a billing. So billing is return of credit of for return, which is known as RE, credit for return. So this is where the stock is coming back. Now, as the customer is complaining, I have a 2 quantity which I need to give you back, system will immediately, based on these availability check, schedule line category, moment type, and item category, identify that, okay, currently it is 5 stock. I need to bring that 2 more quantity back and it will become 7. So system will change here the quantity from 5 to 7. System did not increase here 102 because of this special stock indicator. As simple as that. So the moment stock change, it became our or entered in the consignment stock, and then we are back to the pickup process. Pickup process means all remaining goods which is at the customer site, which is till now lying at the customer's place, and now we may have to reset all that stock, and that's what we are going to do as part of the consignment pickup. So picking up stock from customer's site and bring back to our warehouse, or make it unrestricted, whatever we call it. Same question we will ask, relevant for pricing? No, not relevant for pricing. You are not going to charge for this. No need. Relevant for billing? No. Ownership is now with us. It is with us and we are just bringing it back in our own warehouse. So not relevant for pricing. Same, not relevant for credit. Definitely not relevant for credit control. And availability check will be against consignment stock. We already know that because now we want to move the stock which was lying into the consignment customer's place out of this 7 quantity. And that's what we will write here. Consignment. So what is the general process? We already have kind of established a trend that consignment pickup means it's a pickup order. We call it KA. We will follow the concept of item category, obviously, KAN. Schedule line category we are calling. Some of the things are you have to remember. We do not have a much of option, and you don't have to remember. Over the period of time you would understand that how the things gets determined, and we will study it more into the more detailed concept of item category determination, schedule line category determination, and all. So that 632 which was missing in the first process comes here, 632 movement tab. This as part of the next step we will have delivery. And here again, this is a return delivery, that would be LR. We don't have any billing, so this box is actually not required. And this kind of gives us a closure of end-to-end process, how the consignment pickup runs. So as part of the consignment pickup, if I am picking up out of this 70 quantity, 4 quantity back to my own warehouse because it's damaged or not relevant, system will at the end of this pickup order and return delivery, system will remove that 4 product and only 3 quantity will remain. And this 7 will be gone. But you know where this 4 quantity will go where? It will come here and added in the my general stock. That 4 quantity which I have picked up from the consignment stock and brought it back, it will come back and get added in my normal stock. My normal stock will get increased. Now we will shortly see this cycle in the system. Quickly, let me open the remote desktop. I would skip the billing part because it will take quite some time, and I just want to give you guys a very quick and simple overview. I am opening the Fury here. We can run this cycle in both ways, by the Fury as well as normal. General experience is Fury runs better, and especially in the Chrome. So let me open the Fury and Chrome because at least I like it more. And it is faster. So we are here. We will look at the stock of a specific material. So I'm just now opening the stock. I don't want to use that one. Okay. S log. So this is my material where we will be watching the stock, and we will keep the observation of our process. And we are checking that material stock in this particular plant. So let's see. Currently, if you look at this stock situation for this material, you can see that right now in this particular storage location, under a special stock indicator W, as in a customer's consignment, already there is an 8 piece of stock available. And in general normal stock, it is 1126 piece of stock available. So total 1134 stock is available in my system for this product. System is actually giving us the idea about what is our current situation. Let's create a sales order. So we will start with our simple consignment fill up situation. I'm using the order type KB, same. Our own sales organization distribution channel, which we will learn more in detail. What does that mean? I'm providing now the sold to party. That means my customer. So this is my default customer, which I would like to use for our testing. So that's 3704. In customer reference, I'm just writing down consignment fill up _1. So I pressed the enter. System got all the information about system has got all the information about this situation. Now SG02 _ ABC. This is my material code, which we are going to have the testing. As per our example, we will place 10 more quantity at the customer site as part of this consignment fill up order. Let's see. Earlier stock was 8 quantity at this customer, and now we are adding 10 more. System has determined the item category automatically, KBN. We can see at the item level. Under the schedule line, which we were talking about, E1, and I can also see that it is a moment type 631. These are, if these values are not determined by the system correctly, your scenario will never work properly. So these are the key aspect. I'm just pressing the save. And here system has created sales order number 466. Let's do the delivery. From the inside the document, SAP provides you the option that do you want to directly deliver? I can directly send it for the delivery from here. What I need to provide is shipping point. One of the question many times comes in our mind, what does that, or as well as exam as well, what is shipping point? Shipping point means the place from where, in my plant, the place from where the shipping activity will be done. That is shipping point. It's as simple as that. So physically, we provided system and information. I want to ship the 10 quantity. This is the screen of the delivery, how it looks like. And now we are in the picking process. It's very easy to complete the picking process because I just need to identify what storage location. I exactly know that this is the storage location for me, and I exactly want to pick up the 10 quantity. But what does physically means? Physically, what happens in this warehouse is someone is going with this particular material code information with the delivery note, searching for that goods in the physical warehouse, putting that particular goods into the truck and getting it, making that truck ready. This is the whole process of picking and loading. So that's what is happening right now. For us, it's just as simple as updating storage location, picked quantity, and done. As a next step, it's a post goods issue. When you press this button, that's the time when the real material movement process happens. Now, without any issue or a problem, system has created the delivery. With this, consignment fill up has been completed. Now we need to see the impact of that consignment fill up. What happens? Earlier, the quantity, if you will observe, here is a 8 quantity, it's a 1126 quantity. Let's see. I'm now refreshing and quantity has been changed. The 24 quantity which was here, the 26 quantity was here. Out of 10 quantity from the unrestricted stock has moved to the customer specific stock. Now, any other customer who places the order, he cannot use this quantity. He has to, that orders will go against this quantity, and this will all be blocked till the further processes. This is where we are seeing the impact of the consignment fill up process. Let's see the impact of consignment issue. Imagine now your customer has sold that product, 5 quantity. So issue KE, same customer. Same material code I'm using. We'll use a 5 quantity. System has determined the item category KEN as we were expecting. Same goes for the schedule lines, C1 item category and its corresponding movement type 533. Also important point, system is picking up 5 quantity, but from where? From that 18 quantity of customer specific quantity. And that's where system has picked up that information. I will quickly check pricing part. There is one condition type missing. We will update the same quickly. And with that, we'll save the sales order. Our order has been saved. Next order 467 has been created. Let's see. We'll do the delivery and see how the quantity is becoming changed. In the system sales document, I just went to the delivery. You can go from the normal screen like this, where you can already say that create outbound delivery, and you can go from the by clicking here. I'm just using the more easier path, which I'm more used to truthfully. Same concept, peaking, as I mentioned, easy for us. Physical activity takes more time than just doing it in the system. 5 quantities placed, place the post goods issue, and system has completed our consignment issue process. Ideally, consignment issue means now the stock should be reduced from this 18 quantity. It has been sold further to his customer, and that is why we are charging this particular stock. Let's see. You can see now stock has been changed from 18 to 13. So this is the process of consignment issue. Imagine a scenario, the same topic. When we sold the 5 quantity, customer comes back and now starts complaining, sorry, but there is a problem. You have sold me 5 quantity, out of which 2 quantities are not working. I would like to return. The end customer tells this to the distributor, and distributor comes back and gives it back to us. And that brings us in the situation that we have to initiate consignment return. As simple as a process. I just changed the document type, sales document type. Go into the sales order processing. Taking my order. Return process. Providing the material code and the 2 quantity which my customer is missing. I will just pick up something different, more simple and easier. Just taking something. That should be okay. Freight is redetermined. Okay, all this process are backend information of the payment term, Incoterm, and system is just going through the whole process. So main purpose, item category, KRN in my plant. I would quickly check. You don't have to do all this checking every time. I'm just showing you so you understand that correct system is determining correct information. D0, no availability check, setup. And if you go into the procurement, it's 634. Over the period of time, you will learn to trust your system because you know that your setups are working fine, and you don't have to worry for each and every step and each and every point. So one of the important point here is there is a billing block in this particular order. Why? It's a check credit memo concept block. At the end of this process, we will, because it's a return, we will end up giving customer a bill credit, and for that credit there is a check credit memo block. So you make sure that you are checking this is a correct credit as well as the stock received, the stock has been received properly. So we will save this order. Okay, pricing, I missed it. 2 reasons actually. So good thing. This is an incompletion log. If you ever miss anything in the system is smart enough to point out that, okay, there are some information which I need. Why you are creating the return process? We are creating a return process because of damage in transit. My goods was damage in transit. Okay, fine. System understood. Let's go for the next check. Picking, yeah, okay, there is a manual discount which system expects, because when you had issued this material, you had given the discount. So when you are giving credit, you have to reduce that much value. Okay. System document is complete and we are going for the save. See, we will understand all this detailed process, how to configure incompletion log and all in our normal training. This is just main purpose is to see the impact of consignment process. So I'm not trying to go too much in detail for each and every topic. You can see our sales order. It's too long number to repeat, has been created for the consignment return, and now we are inside. We will take the stock back in the same plant and the same amount of quantity. Someone is physically verifying the stock is in, and we are doing post goods receipt. The word is changed here. Instead of issue, it has become receipt. Now the stock is coming back. And at this point of time, the return delivery has been created. Let's see the impact on the stock. It is right now 13 at the end situation. We are bringing 2 stock back and it is becoming 15. That means the stock, the moment we completed our activity, stock is back as part of the consignment return process. And now we will touch base very last process of consignment pickup. But before we go, okay, we can go for the consignment pickup. Purpose of the consignment pickup is to make sure whatever is remaining stock or a damaged stock which is there, that is what we are taking up. In the stock right now, total 15 quantities there. I have decided by physical checking that 5 quantity out of that needs to be taken away. So I would pick up the 5 quantity. Consignment pickup is KA. We will use the same customer, all the same repeat process, material code, which we were using till now, which we are going to pick up back. We will take 5 quantity back from the plant. System determines the item category KAN. Let's see other informations are correct or not. Not relevant for pricing, not relevant for billing this order, right? F1 with availability check. Let me check. Movement type 632. 631 to fill up, send 632 for the pickup. Okay, all looks good. System, okay, smart enough. System is still asking for the order reason. Why do you want to pick it up from the customer's plate? And which is a very fair question, because these are the things which are ultimately impacting your account determination if you have designed in that way, or it is being used for the reporting perspective as well, which I just oversee, but ultimately now system is ready with the all necessary information for it to move on. So let's save the pickup order. We'll go from the more sales document, deliver. I'm pressing just an enter. Inside, storage location provided, picked up quantity provided, and again post goods receipt, because picking up stock is also return process where we are bringing the stock in our own warehouse. And now the 5 quantity of stock from the consignment of this customers and material combination, out of 15, 5 quantity I'm moving to my normal stock. That means this stock needs to be increased. Let's see. You can see 10 quantity, this has been reduced with 5 quantity and this has been increased. So This was overall the scenario or kind of a session about consignment sales process, where we understood whole business process and how this how this all things works in a real industry, as well as how it impacts in the system. Running the cycle looks very simple. Physical in the system, physical execution takes way more time and way more thought process. But we as a consultant need to know why and how we are designing this. More configuration we will review as part of our detailed training. So let me go back again to our main PPT slides. With this, I think we are at the end of our session. So guys, with that, thanks a lot and have a nice day ahead, or have a nice evening, depending upon which place you are. Thank you. See you, some of you, again into tomorrow's training. I would not prefer to take any more time from you guys. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.